to another amazing, fucking badass episode of Listen Motherfucker. We have a bit of an announcement. This is kind of a surprise. We have a bit of an announcement that Dr. McFuddy and myself, we've had a few, I wouldn't say several, it's really only been a few. It's been a few meetings and discussions about Listen Motherfucker. And I have been thrilled to find someone as excited as I am about Listen Motherfucker and the idea of Listen Motherfucker. From everything from funny stories to topics that just need to be fucking talked about. And I love the fact that I'm 52 years old in Gen X, and Dr. McFuddy over here is 24 and somewhere between Millennial and Gen Z, depending on who the fuck you ask.
I never know.
So the surprise is that we're gonna dive into this together. We're gonna keep doing as much of this together forever, that we can. And sometimes I'll be on here and do shit by myself. Sometimes McFuddy will do shit by himself. Most of the time we'll do shit together. Lots of really cool stuff. So I'm super excited about it. Are you kind of excited?
I'm so fucking excited.
It's fantastic. And what we're both excited about today, and this was kind of your idea, that you basically, we don't have anything that we've discussed. They're like, hey, we have got to fucking talk about this.
I mean, we have some things. Today we just didn't. We have a very allotted amount of time, so we kind of wanted to just record and talk. Right? There's things that are coming. We're going to talk about the electric lie at some point.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about a couple other things. There's some more cancel culture stuff we need to dive into.
Yes.
But today we had a very specific amount of time. Didn't want to constrain ourselves, so we're just hitting the ground running with whatever.
Yeah.
And we're going to start off by saying, Listen Motherfucker has merch that will be going live sometime within the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
So look out for that link in the description below. And I'm getting a new chair. So tweet at me, at McFuddy, MACKFUDDY, and tell me what chair you want me to see me in. I need ideas.
I don't even know if we are... McFuddy's I would love it if you would... We briefly did this in an episode that hasn't been released yet. Well, by the time everyone sees this, it'll probably be released. Tell everybody about McFuddy as far as you're wearing a Docs Lab t-shirt. I want everyone to know all about McFuddy, and I know that in the last episode you talked a lot about it, but briefly describe who the fuck is McFuddy, what is Docs Lab. McFuddy is all over social media. So in other words, he's educated me and say, hey, we need Discord channels.
We need a Discord
server. We need Discord server. We have merch. We're going to be making sure that we're on TikTok, making sure that we're on Twitter, basically Instagram. Every fucking avenue possible that exists, you're going to be able to find us there.
Yep. We're going to be everywhere from the Bay Area to the universe.
Yeah. From fucking Diego to the LBC.
Yeah. LBC. Do you remember that? Do you know that song? Did you listen to that one with Eminem and Snoop? From the D to the LBC?
Oh yeah.
It was a good song.
Yeah.
We're playing around with the idea of live streaming the podcast as well, because I know that's a fairly untapped market.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. And even, when I first think of live stream, I think of like masturbating and having everyone watch you ejaculate.
That's happened on Twitch before.
Not with McFuddy.
Not with me. No.
Not with you, no.
No. But that's the thing. People have forgotten to turn their streams off and have just like started beating their meat, polishing their receptor, and it's all over stream. And those people have never lived it down. Like, it has ruined careers before.
Well, as it should. If you're gonna, I mean, whatever. I don't care about masturbating, but
hell no, double down and fucking own it. You know.
Yeah.
Make it a members only content thing. You know how easily it would be to turn a masturbating clip on Twitch into an OnlyFans career?
Right.
Someone's out there and they're feeling it.
Yeah.
You're feeling you and they're feeling you.
I told my son a long time ago, I'm like, dude, get an OnlyFans, go on there and play Skyrim or play whatever. I think maybe he was Red Dead then. I don't know. He bounces all over the place. Starfield, whatever. Just set up a webcam. Just sit there and play it naked and fucking occasionally just face the camera and start jerking off. Somewhere, there's going to be somebody that wants to watch that.
Well, you know that OnlyFans was originally created as a members-only site for like musicians and stuff to release unreleased stuff. So like, I want to talk about the new Eminem song that just released, Houdini.
Yes.
In a world like that, OnlyFans was originally created for him to release that for a certain price, like a month early before everybody else got it. That was its original intent, was to be a platform for artists to release things early for people that were willing to pay for it.
And then it was just hijacked by...
And now it's porn. It's porn.
It's porn.
Yeah. I think the only
it's major...
It's literally just porn. Yeah. That's it. And the only artist that I know of for a fact that still uses it for its intended purpose is Tyga, the Rack City guy.
I've heard the name, but I don't know who he is.
He's the one. He's the one that porks one of the Jenners. I don't remember which one. Kylie.
They all do. Do you like rap music?
I love rap music.
You do?
Yeah. Who's
your favorite of all time?
Eminem, hands down.
Period.
Without a doubt. You could play me any song without even telling me the name of it, and within the first 3 seconds, I could do the entire song from memory.
Jesus.
Every single one. From the Infinite album, like 1997, like his first studio, all the way to Houdini. I could do every song word for word.
I could not.
Yeah. He's my favorite.
Got it. Do you like LL Cool J?
I do like LL Cool J. I like a lot of the older music that I like isn't necessarily like the rap or hip hop or anything like that. Like if you go back to just like my favorite artists of all time,
Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond is a great one.
I'm kidding.
No, Neil Diamond actually is. Bob Seger's great. Sinatra and Dean Martin, like the Rat Pack, they have some of my favorite music of all time.
The only Christmas music worth listening to is a Rat Pack Christmas.
Yes.
We listen to it every year. Yeah. I play it all month long.
God, do you know how angry I was with how people reacted to the whole, like, baby is cool?
But yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that.
You want to talk about cancel culture.
It's a great song.
Right. And I don't care how many times I've listened to that. He's not talking about raping this bitch.
No, I do understand from the perspective of the opposition where it seems a little rapey, but get off the dick of the societal movement. It's an amazing song, and just take it for what it is.
How do you feel about the Me Too movement? Do you understand where they were coming from?
To an extent.
I mean, we're dudes, so to an extent you understand. I mean, if you really look at the Harvey Weinsteins...
that guy was fucked up, okay.
Right. The Epsteins, and he didn't kill himself. The Epsteins and the Weinsteins, are they all Jews? and yet, Bill Cosby. I mean, the glass ceiling, it definitely exists. Yeah. But what I want to point out is hashtag Me Too. It's a pound sign, you fucking stupid bitch. Pound Me Too was somebody somewhere came up with pound Me Too. Hashtag Me Too. Seriously. Okay, now you're yelling at the screen saying boomer. Yeah, you fucking I'm Gen X, I'm not a boomer. My fucking kids, I think my son, I don't know if it was Parker or Toria, one of them, it could have been collective, that I said something along these lines, and I think it was a text chain. I think it was a text chain where I really wasn't following something, And they both fucking said, whatever, boomer. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys? And they just found themselves so funny that they, yeah, we know you're Gen X, but the thing today is for anyone our age, we're going to call you a fucking boomer.
Yeah. That's what, I don't, man.
No?
I relate way more to the boomers than I do anybody my own age. Right? Because, like, here's the thing. We talked about this with Black Lives Matter in the episode that will be released before this one. I think the Me Too movement initially had a great vision.
And then was hijacked and butt fucked.
It was. And because now you've bred this creature of so many people that have taken the aspect of sexual assault and like, oh, this guy looked at me for too long in public. Now I feel violated. And unfortunately, sucks to be us. If your appendages dangle, you're screwed. Like,
yeah, you're a criminal.
You're not. It is not set up for us to succeed, and that's where you see a lot of college athletes who get arrested because somebody accused them of sexual assault, and they lose full ride scholarships, and they end up like. If you get accused of rape, you're a rapist. To everybody but you, it doesn't matter. If you are a guy who gets accused of rape with no proof, it doesn't matter. You're just as guilty as the guy who they've got 100 pages of evidence against. Mm. It's no different than fucking every state in the U.S. is pretty much set up and designed to like make all fathers a failure, like in custody battles and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't matter. You could have a prostitute, drug addict mother who is shooting up her 3-year-old son full of heroin who makes no money other than on the street corner.
And the baby daddy's actually a youth pastor that had a bad moment.
Exactly.
And he has no rights.
No rights to the kids. Mm-hmm. Because he's a dude.
Because he's a dude. And Wade, my cousin Wade, you all know, most of you know Wade, who is in a custody battle, and she has no contact orders based on total fabrications.
Yeah.
That she showed a bruise on her, or she talked about a bruise that she had on her arm. He literally watched her drop a box in the garage onto her forearm and it bruised her. No, he gave it to her, and he hit his son with sticks, who was 4 years old. Neither of which are true. And she is going to renew it year after year. And he tried to talk about it during court, and the judge interrupted him. He's basically, in that courtroom, he's a piece of shit. They believe 100%. And he has some DUIs. So is he perfect? No. But that shouldn't mean that you're a piece of shit and that what this chick has said is true. He didn't even get the opportunity to... He had a stack of papers of all the treatment that he's been through for... He even had DV treatment, even though that was a lie about her arm. He had therapy, and he had letters from his therapist. He had he had all of it. The judge did not, who was a woman, did not did not give a fuck. Anyways, we got sidetracked. McFuddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a little bit about and the only reason I want you to say a little bit about your background and how awesome you are and how awesome you are on computers and the way that your mind works with all of that. You don't need to go that into it, but the reason that you know so much and you're excited about getting LMF more integrated into all avenues of social media is because you've done that with Doc's Lab and McFuddy, and I want them to understand what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, for sure. So anybody who's watched the previous episode probably heard quite a bit of this. I started Dr. McFuddy 4 or 5 years ago.
During COVID.
Yeah, during COVID. Everyone was stuck at home. And the basic thought process was I played video games and talked to myself all the time anyways. Why not start recording it and posting it? Because what's the worst that's going to happen? It never gets any views, and I'm no worse off than I am now. Right? No downside to it. I already had all the equipment that I needed. It's since been upgraded. Anybody who did watch my first couple videos knows that it's way better now.
Like the sound.
The sound.
Compared to Wade and I sharing a fucking speaker in the middle of this table and it sounded terrible. That was embarrassing.
The microphone placement was a huge difference for me because I didn't know anything. Like, if you were to ask me to, we had some technical issues before we started recording. If you were to ask me to diagnose that 4 years ago, I would have lasted 5 minutes before I got so frustrated I gave up and just we're going to go shoot hoops until Taylor gets here.
Yeah,
that we would not have been recording today.
Yeah,
but I've been through it, right? I've been through having to have the audio interface that's got its issues. I've got a soundboard. I've got the microphone. Like, I've had to diagnose and fix all these things on my own before.
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. McFuddy started. Lots of Fortnite, lots of Skyrim. Eventually, it turned into me realizing that, like, I would talk about anything. I would essentially have a solo podcast while layering it over Skyrim or Fortnite gameplay.
Got you.
And I got to the point where it was like, okay, well, I want to be on a podcast. Like, I want to have that because I enjoy talking with people. And
why do you think that a Discord server is beneficial? What opportunity does that provide, whether it's Docs Lab or LMF? What opportunity does that give any of us?
Very, very much so. It is going to drive engagement. Not necessarily engagement with content, right? Because if people know you have a Discord server, they know you have content out there. No one just randomly is like, oh, look at this Discord server that's called Docs Lab, or Listen Motherfucker, LMF, or whatever we're going to title it.
Yeah.
And goes, I'm going to join that. Like, people don't do that. You get invited, you hear about it, you know about it from somewhere.
Gotcha.
And in our case, it will be through YouTube or Twitter or TikTok or whatever it may be. And so being able to engage with your community, because there is a point where, if you're one of those YouTubers like, the PewDiePies or the Mr. Beasts or the guys who are just up there,
mm-hmm.
You're talking, going down in history as one of the best ever do it. They're held in the same regards as like a fucking Dwayne Johnson, a celebrity status. Like, they're famous people. And a big issue that I have with society is that we look at them like they're better than we are because they have money and they have these resources, and like, they're no different than you and I. We're just people. And so being able to engage with your community and kind of show them, like, I'm just like you are, not only helps drive loyalty later on. If LMF were to ever hit 1 million subscribers and you still got that core group of 200-300 people that were there at the beginning that you were engaging with, then those 200-300 people are not only going to share it with 2 or 3, 4, 5 other 100 people, but they're going to be like, this is, he's doing it better than this guy because we can actually speak to him. We can share our opinions. We've got an avenue where we know he's just one of us. And
because we literally have the opportunity to engage with it.
Exactly. And that's something I've seen a lot of people start out doing, and then they just give up on it because they allow it to grow too much.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched people who have, had the idea and then never saw it through. And I know people that would straight up disagree that it's a good idea to have it in the first place. But in order for us to be right, somebody has to be wrong, right? Can't be right if nobody's wrong. Otherwise, everyone's right. So, fuck those people, I guess.
If you ask my wife, I'm always wrong.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm wrong.
I get it. We are spoken for, just for the single 45-year-old ladies who are in my area, according to websites.
Yeah. Yes. So, you mentioned Houdini. Why Houdini?
Because that song, okay. I do. I want to.
And this is coming. This is coming from an Eminem / superfan.
Oh yeah, I would get violent just to even like have the chance to buy tickets to an Eminem concert.
Okay.
Like, I would choke somebody out if they were like, I have them, but I didn't have any proof. I would still choke them out.
Well, and I didn't even. But I mean, I guess I don't really engage on modern or on like new music, I guess. So I didn't even know that he had released a new song, except you told me.
So that's something that he's been experimenting, because anybody that knows me or has watched the previous episode knows I'm very obsessive. Like, if something interests me, I'm going to spend the next 6 hours and then I can tell you everything about it.
Okay.
And Eminem is one of those entities that I could tell you just about anything about.
Okay.
And when he did the interview with Sway on the Shade 4-5 XM radio channel, it's actually he owns the Shade 4-5. Eminem owns the Shade 4-5 XM radio channel because why not?
Right.
He did a podcast interview with Sway, who runs the show Sway in the Morning. And basically they were talking, he had just released Kamikaze, which was the album following Revival. Revival is considered like his worst album in history. I disagree. I think it's a great album. It may not be one of his best, but it's not a bad album by any means.
Okay.
And something that he started doing with that album was that he didn't promote it. Like, there wasn't this big press junket 6 months before release, like, hey, I'm coming out with this album. This is going to be who's on it. Like, he just dropped it, and nobody knew about it until the day it came out. And I was like, shit, like, he's releasing new music. Because if you think Revival, the one before that was the Marshall Mathers LP2, where he dyed his hair back to blonde, and he was doing the funny accents and playing around like he was on drugs, even though he wasn't. He actually just got his 16-year sobriety coin.
Nice.
Like 2 weeks ago. So he's been very methodical with how he releases stuff, because the way he explained it was that if you give people 6 months before release to form an opinion, like you come out and you say, I'm coming out with this record, it's got 13 songs, this is who features on it, this is what the album's about. Before even hearing it, people are going to be like, well, I don't like that feature, or I don't like, that topic, or I don't like this. And so by the time it comes out, you've already got 90% of your fan base that either likes it or they don't.
Yeah.
And they won't just take the music for what it is. So he releases an album, no one knows about it until the day that it drops. And the only way that they can form an opinion is by listening to it. Not only does that drive up sales for the album, which is genius, but you have to form an opinion based on the quality of the music.
And nothing else.
And nothing else. And a big part of where he was starting to see that issue is with YouTube and Twitch and all these outlets and everything like that. Everybody's a critic. I have never made a rap song in my life, but I will tell you which songs I think are good and which songs I think are not. There are songs that I like of his. There are some songs that, even though I know them, aren't like, if it comes on my phone, I'm going to skip it. And so he was getting tired of everybody critiquing every little thing that he was doing, even though it hadn't come out yet. And so then when Kamikaze dropped, he did the same thing. Well, then,
excuse me,
Music to Be Murdered By was more or less the same thing. He was kind of in the media already because of some of the singles that had come out before the full album had come out. And there was the whole thing with him and Snoop Dogg had that beef that was relevant at the time.
Is Houdini a single, or is there an album?
It is a single. He is releasing an album according to the leak from the Billboard company that does the whole like Billboard Top 100 and stuff like that. The album was supposed to release July 5th. Now that has not been confirmed or denied by any legitimate source, but they did leak accidentally that the album was supposed to release on July 5th. But Houdini is out now as a single. And
have you ever purchased a CD?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I own vinyl records.
Okay.
CDs are almost too new age for me. I like shit on vinyl. It sounds so much better.
When you were... How old were you the first time that you either purchased or downloaded a song? Or an album, or your first piece of music?
Oh, God. 5 or 6? I was young. And my sister taught me how to download music and burn it to a CD. So I was doing that pretty early on.
Where were they?
They were sitting on the shelf out there when you pulled them out of the box.
Yes.
I figured they had to be in the setup.
Yeah.
Did it help at all?
Huh?
Did the maple syrup help at all?
I hope so. I just had some. I don't know what that... I've had a cold, but... Okay. I'm sorry about that, everyone. I hope I'm feeling better now. Okay.
Don't accept his apology. Roast him in the comments.
Yeah. So what did I interrupt?
We were talking about CDs.
So you were young when your sister taught you how to download something.
Yeah.
So yeah, at 24 years old, I think that by 20 years ago, so by 2004, 2005 or 6, I'm just trying to I'm in my mind I'm trying to figure out as a young man, as a 11, 12, 13, 16-year old, are you just on iTunes? Are you carrying around an iPod, or are you purchasing CDs to listen to music in a vehicle?
No, because by the time I was 11, I had my first iPhone. So iTunes was big. But you also had to think Pandora was out, Pandora Radio. So I didn't ever have to worry about like putting together playlists or buying music. I just listen to Pandora. And if I didn't like it, you skip it. And if you ran out of skips on one station, then you just move to another station.
Mm-hmm.
And even beyond that, like I had an iPod once after I broke my phone. And that had a bunch of music on it already that I enjoyed. And then you hit like the 2015, 2016 era, and Spotify was super popular, and cars have Bluetooth at this point, or like an aux port, like the auxiliary port. So like CDs weren't really a thing. I know that in my old Audi, I had an '06 Audi A3, and it didn't have Bluetooth, and it didn't have an auxiliary port. It had a 6 CD changer. So I bought CDs for that car because I was on the road a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But then even then, I was like, once I got tired of the CDs, I just went and bought one of those like radio adapters that you plugged into the cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
And like the 12 volts, and then I had Bluetooth in the car. So I've never relied on CDs, because even then, tack on top of that, YouTube was popular in the 2010s era. So you could find any song that you wanted to listen to on YouTube. And back when like the iPhone 3 came out, YouTube was background compatible. So you could play it in the background, because that was before they came out with YouTube Premium. And you need YouTube Premium now to play YouTube in the background on devices. So yeah, you could literally get any music anywhere all the time. And now I have Apple Music. All music is free for me all the time.
Yeah.
Now I do have like I have a record player at home. I will buy albums that I enjoy on vinyl because I just think it sounds better. Like that scratch of the vinyl like sounds better. And I've got a lot of Johnny Cash, a lot of Sinatra, a lot of Elvis. I have some of Eminem's newer stuff on vinyl. Like I have so many vinyl records, it's kind of depressing. But it just sounds better.
And do you have a newer version of a turntable?
No.
Or did you went out and bought some old shit that would have been new?
Taylor got me one that was made in the 40s for Christmas, like 2 or 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it's old. Like it's still got like the the record players that had like the built-in vintage radio where you had to sit there and scroll, and it would have that red bar that moved in the tuner. Yeah, it's like one of those. I love it. It doesn't have the huge like the I can't remember what those are called.
The speaker thing that came out.
Yeah, the speaker arm. It doesn't have one of those because I don't like the way that those look. But no, everything sounds better on vinyl. I have the special edition painted vinyl of Star Wars: A New Hope with like where the movie audio plays on vinyl, and on one side R2D2 and C3PO were painted on it, and Darth Vader's painted on the other side. I have that vinyl. I've never played that one. That one's still in the original packaging. I refuse to open it.
I only asked because as I'm listening to you talk about music or your favorite music or whatever, I'm thinking back to when I think the first cassette tape, I got them in my stocking. I got 2 at the exact same time: AC/DC Back in Black and Foreigner Records. And so I'm just too old to, obviously now I just go purchase the song or listen to the song that I was interested in. But back then you had to be part of the entire album.
Yeah.
And so as you're talking about his albums or albums dropping or whatever, I was just in my own brain curious about how that registered with you.
I had a cassette tape of the Beastie Boys.
License to Ill?
No. I don't remember what the album was. There was a specific song I wanted off of there. And I can't remember the name of the song. But I could never find anywhere to play it. I never had anywhere that I played cassette
exactly.
tapes. So it was like, okay.
Yeah.
I had that one on vinyl now.
Yeah, I've never collected vinyl.
I don't even collect them to collect them. I listen to them. I know people that will collect vinyl records and never open them, which I get for the Star Wars one. That's a collector's item.
Yeah.
If I want to listen to the movie, I'll watch the movie.
Right.
But like,
oh, here she comes. Come on in.
And she has pants on.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, OnlyFans.
Can I vacuum for like 5 seconds?
Where are you at?
The truck.
What happened?
Pizza spoon. She
What
finally
the
shit.
fuck? Oh my fucking god. Yep. There's going to be a few episodes or a few edits in this episode.
It's okay. Do you want to hear a story that you can edit out if you want?
Sure.
That I think you might find funny. So I have 2 older sisters. One of them, my oldest one, the one that taught me how to burn CDs and everything like that. I don't speak to a lot anymore. But then my other older sister, she is very much one of those like civil rights activists. I think I talked about her in another episode that we did.
Pronouns.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the pronouns chick thing.
Yeah, whatever. I get it.
She reached out to me after we recorded that episode. She hasn't seen it,
Right.
but because I know when we recorded that, I was like, I'm not going to talk about who I'm talking about too much. It was very obviously my sister. When she reached out to me, she's like, "Hey, I know we haven't spoken in a while. Do you want to maybe just like play games or something?" This was last week.
Okay.
And I was like, we can always play games, like, because if I just don't want to listen to you talk, I'll listen to you. Like, I'll play games with you all day long. And so we did.
And this is like remotely playing games together?
Yeah. We were on Discord, actually. We were talking to each other on Discord playing Borderlands 2. And
you're playing together, or you're both playing your own game separately, but you're talking while you're doing it?
Oh, no, we were playing together. We were in, like, the same game.
Okay.
And just at one random point, she decided she was going to use a sniper, like, out of nowhere, right in front of somebody. I am all for sniping games. That's my mantra. That's where I'm comfortable. But she's standing fucking right on the guy. Pulls out her sniper. No help whatsoever. So I'm surrounded by like 12 dudes with a pistol. Because she got starting weapons for some reason and I didn't. I just got the basic pistol that you find in the beginning of the game. And she's not helping. And I sit there and managed to kill everybody. Between all my pistol ammo and 3 grenades, I killed everybody. And I'm sitting there and I'm breathing. I'm like, man, do you think this is a socially acceptable time to scream the N-word? Let me tell you who hung up on me immediately. I didn't say the N. I literally said word for word.
Yeah, you were making a joke.
Exactly. And I thought it was so funny. And she didn't. And I haven't spoken to her since.
She literally hung up on you?
She literally hung
She
up
disconnected at that point.
Disconnected the game, hung up on me, and I haven't heard from her since.
Yeah.
I thought I got a kick out of it.
You were making a joke.
Yeah.
And you weren't going to say the word.
No, that's a word I refuse to say.
Yeah.
So
I wish I could say that I've never said the word, but
well, I've said it. It's just like now that I'm a lot more aware of what I'm saying.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Like swear words work their way into my everyday vernacular very naturally. And it's very hard for me to be aware that I'm saying fuck in the middle of a sentence.
I've always had a problem with who decided that you. I mean, in no different than George Carlin and his whole thing with the 7 words and the FCC or whatever. Who decided that fuck is shit's a bad word? Who ass, damn, goddamn, or whatever. Don't take the Lord's. I mean, I've never, even as a small child,
understood why words had the classifications that they did. Like, what makes fuck a swear word?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a bad word. What are you talking about?
I'll take
Why?
it a step further. Why do any words mean what they mean? Because some guy somewhere at some point said that chair meant chair.
Right.
Why couldn't that be a cupcake? Why couldn't this be a car?
Mm-hmm.
A car is only a car because we know it as a car.
Right.
All words are made up equally, and it makes, every time I think about that, it hurts my brain. It really does.
This is a bad word.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I don't get it. I've never got it.
No. Anyway, let's talk Houdini.
Okay.
Because then afterward, I want to talk about the hive mind of Starbucks employees.
So I did listen to Houdini, and what to me is old. I mean, it reminded me of old school Eminem.
Yeah.
In his cadence, and what he was saying. I enjoyed the song. I know that. I mean, the only thing that because you told me that people are kind of freaking out about it.
Oh, people are pissed.
I mean, he said the word retard, but who cares? So you educate me. What's out there that people are having a real problem with this?
Well, the whole song, really, and where you see the divide, and it's actually really cool because if you go on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, and everything like that, you've got a very clear line between the people that grew up listening to Eminem and the people that didn't, because pretty much everyone who's 16 or younger they're pissed off because they didn't grow up listening to 2002 Eminem. People like me who grew up listening to Eminem, like we were there for the Kim when that came out, Criminal, The Real Slim Shady, My Name, like all of those songs that weren't offensive back then that are offensive now.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up with that. That's normal Eminem to us. So then Houdini comes out, and this is the first look that everybody who didn't grow up with Eminem has into what Slim Shady was, his alter ego, the crazy drugged out maniac. This is their first introduction to him. So when he comes out and he's talking about, making jokes about Megan Thee Stallion and her shooting, or talking about, calling his kids brats or saying the word retard or, anything like that that's totally normal to like you and I, they're like, well, that's not okay. Like, you can't make fun of a shooting, or you can't call your kids brats, that's child abuse, or you can't you can't say the word retard, you're going to offend somebody. And it's like, okay, well, let's go back and just look at some of the discography from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
He made a whole song about killing his wife. And actually, if you know anything about his discography, he's made 2 songs about killing his wife, one of which included his kid. So where does that really sit comparative to calling somebody a retard, right? It just doesn't. You've got My Name Is, where he talks about impregnating his own mother. It's hilarious. But it's like, I don't get where they're getting off being pissed off about this song when comparatively, this is like Soft Cushion's Landing for what a Slim Shady song could be.
True.
Right? But it's also like, you didn't.
But they're going to tell you that's progress. They're going to tell you. I'm so sorry. They're going to tell you that I don't give a fuck what he said 16 years ago. We're telling you that's not okay. No different than the Me Too movement, or no different than BLM, or no different than trying to talk about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. Or they're going to tell you that just because that's what it was like and you grew up listening to that. I mean, I could tell you that I grew up with my dad saying the N-word daily. That doesn't mean that it's okay for me to just do it now because I grew up listening to that. That's what the devil's advocate is going to tell you, is that,
sure,
I don't give a fuck that that's what he used to say. I'm 16 and you can't say that anymore. Because
then don't listen to it.
Right.
If you grew up listening to your dad say the N-word all the time and it's not okay for you to do that now, then don't do it. I'm sick and tired of people sitting here saying, oh, well, it's not that easy. It is that easy. You don't like the song, don't fucking listen to it. It's a good song. If it offends you, turn it off.
Eminem would tell you that himself.
He literally released 3 songs about how he doesn't give a fuck what anybody says about his music. He's saying what he wants to say. There's literally a lyric in Houdini where he's like, I'm going to fucking say what I want to say, and if you're pissed off about it, fuck you.
What he's pretty methodical about the meaning behind most of what he does. Not all of it. Some of what he does is just sheer entertainment, but most of it, I believe, as not a super fan, but a fan of Eminem, that what is he getting at? He chose the name Houdini for a reason, who is a magician, a famous magician. Yeah. So what is he getting at with that song? Do you know?
I have an idea. I've got a pretty hard-running theory. If before Houdini came out, he released a video on Instagram with David Blaine, where they were like, David Blaine,
the magician.
He does all like the extreme stuff. They were FaceTiming, and he posted this video on Instagram where he's like, we should do a trick together. And David Blaine's like, let's do it. Like, what do you want to do? And he goes, well, for my next trick, let's make my career disappear. And then if you look at the title of the next album that's coming out called The Death of Slim Shady, you got two major running theories here. Is he going to take on cancel culture and start rapping like the original Slim Shady back when saying that stuff wasn't offensive? And just say everything that he needs to say and retire. And, maybe you'll see a feature from him now and then, but he's going to stop making studio albums. Or is he going to succumb to cancel culture and essentially kill off the alter ego that says all the offensive shit? Because
I don't think that. I think that he would. It's not like he needs any more fucking money.
No.
It's not like he's ever cared about what he wins or doesn't win.
No.
He's literally doing this for himself.
Yeah.
I would assume that he is getting off on the idea of taking on cancel culture and not really caring how it turns out. He's just going to entertain himself by doing so. And that would be my opinion.
And that's where I'm kind of leaning to. And honestly, like for the first time in forever, I have been slightly concerned for cancel culture as a movement, because you want to talk about somebody who is not only smart enough in just what they know, but the lyrical genius behind somebody like that. And if he's going to come after cancel culture, buckle the fuck up, because
he could shred most of it.
They're not ready for what a full studio album of him going after cancel culture would be. You want to talk, like, I do not believe, and
you said the name of the album is The Death of Slim Shady?
Yeah. And I think it's been rattling around in my brain, and we can't confirm anything until the album comes out, and I've been checking Apple Music like multiple times a day waiting for it to come out. Because like when Houdini came out, I didn't listen to a single other song for like 3 days.
You just listened to it over and over again?
Over and over and over again. Usually that's how I learn the songs really well too, is because I'll listen to it and I'll be like, this is a good song. And then I'll sit there and like, you pick up the chorus pretty quickly. And then you pick up like, the hook pretty quickly. And then you just sit there and you start like, in your head while you're driving, you're like, okay, well, I remember this line. So then you just sit and you try to rap the song. You're like, da 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 da. And then eventually you'll find yourself like, oh, I can put these 4 bars together. And then it's like, da 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 da. And at some point you play the song and your brain just kicks into overdrive and you can do the whole song. And usually it takes me about 2 to 3 days to hit that point. And then by that point, once I know the song, I'm like, cool, I've learned it. It'll go into the shuffle playlist.
I can't talk that fast.
There are some that it's been a challenge. I actually, when I was learning Godzilla from Music to Be Murdered By, the one that he released, the first song that featured Juice WRLD after Juice WRLD died, I had to slow that one down to actually learn what the lyrics were. Because I can't, do that super well. But if I know the words and I know how to pronounce the words, I can speed it up enough to do the song.
Mm.
Could I ever compile something like that on my own? Absolutely not. That's not my forte. That's not what I know how to do. But I can learn the words even at a slow down pace, and then I can sit there and pick it up and eventually do the song.
Mm.
But I don't know. At this point, he's competing with himself, right?
So you're excited at the idea that he's ready to take on cancel culture?
I'm scared for anybody who stands behind cancel culture, because, we could sit here, we could battle cancel culture all day long.
Do you think that what you just said, you think that there are people that literally stand behind cancel culture?
Yeah. And it's no different than those keyboard warriors that we were talking about that go sit there and try to defend the Me Too movement behind a keyboard, right? Those are people that will stand behind cancel culture. And they'll use the fact that there are so many people supporting the Me Too movement that nothing could ever touch them.
As almost 52 in Gen X, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around the fact that it's easier for me to believe that someone excited, that someone is just using cancel culture as like a troll. Someone's using cancel culture to start an argument, to instigate, Antifa, whatever, you know what I mean? It's so hard for me to accept the concept that somebody truly believes in different parts of the cancel culture and that something should be canceled.
Oh, it exists. You get everyone who uses cancel culture from a trolling perspective and just wants to cancel this certain person because they feel like it, all the way to people who legitimately try to use cancel culture to bring negative attention to something that they believe was an injustice. And you're going to get everything in between.
So when the rednecks of America freaked out on Bud Light for putting the trans guy on the Bud Light can, and which was a marketing genius by Bud Light, but then they pulled it and it went back to normal. Forget the idea of whether they did it on purpose as a marketing genius. Was that the redneck version of cancel culture? That we basically, not we, I didn't really give a fuck one way or another. I don't drink. But that group of people that love Bud Light and Kid Rock or different people saying, hey, I'm not selling that at my concert. When it's like the flip side of cancel culture. Do you think so or no? Do you get where I'm going with this?
Kind of. But at the end of the day, for something like that, I don't know that it mattered. I don't think it mattered where anyone sided with anything. I think Bud Light knew what they were doing. They knew that it was going to get pulled. And they did what they did because just like we talked about when this came up in our cancel culture episode, whether they received negative attention or not,
it's attention.
Or support, it's attention. You know, we're still talking about it almost a year later. So, I mean, what is it? What hurt is, because even if they did something totally outlandish, right? If they released a can that exclaimed that George Washington was a black gay lesbian, and I know I said gay lesbian, do you really think people are going to stop drinking Bud Light to the point where they have to worry about their sales? No, they're too big. It doesn't. Literally, they could do anything that they wanted, and it would not matter whether they were supported by cancel culture, whether they were hated on by you can't go after somebody that big and expect change.
And so, when you think about Eminem, are you hoping that is there an avenue of cancel culture that you hope that he just starts to crucify?
I hope he goes after everybody. I hope he goes after everybody, and that's why I'm excited that there's a full album. Because he can devote 3.5 minutes on 12 tracks on an album to going after everybody. And I hope he does because he's another one, right? Cancel culture is trying to come after him now.
Over Houdini.
Yeah, for Houdini. Do you want to know what Houdini has done since its release? Number 1 on Apple Music globally. Number 1 on Spotify Music globally. It was the number 1 trending music thing on YouTube for a week straight. It is projected to hit the Billboard's top 10 at the number 1 spot this week. Cancel culture is going after a song and it's still outperforming anything else.
And it's pretty long. It's like 5 minutes long, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it was 6 minutes, but it was more than 4. I remember that because I watched it on YouTube. I listened to it by watching it on YouTube.
You watched the music video?
Yeah.
Such a good music video.
And so, yeah, it was him and Dre run around in a Lambo.
Yeah, it's literally almost a carbon copy of the Without Me music video. They did the same thing that when he's dressed up like Robin. That's Rap Boy. That's the superhero Rap Boy.
Got you.
And so I mean, look at so many people are actively out there right now trying to cancel Eminem for 100 different things that he said on one song, and it's still outperforming anything else that's been out there.
I guess I'm just too old because the only thing that stood out to me that I know that he said that I heard was retard.
Yeah. I mean, the song's still relatively new. Like I said, I'm very obsessive.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
get
going
you.
to take some time for people to like analyze the song and pick out everything that he said. But there are some specific things, the Megan Thee Stallion one and the child abuse one being the two biggest that he's getting hated on for.
Okay.
But you're not going to cancel Eminem. He is Bud Light. He's too big and it's not going to matter. Specifically because I'm responsible for half of the streams that get him to number one, anyways. Okay, you know how many times it takes? I can listen to a 5-minute song in 3 days straight.
A lot.
I don't sleep very much. I listen to that song a lot. So it doesn't. I don't think that it's necessary for him to come after cancel culture because he's already so big that it shouldn't matter to him. But from his standpoint of like, he's a very big patriot in the sense that he thinks freedom of speech should be allowed. And the fact that he's been attacked so heavily for saying the shit that he wants to say, a lot of which is very meaningful to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He made a couple of songs about his mom and the fact that she was a drug addict and was drugging him when he was younger and this, that, and the other. But because he's venting on a song about how he feels about his mom, now all of a sudden he's an unappreciative son because you shouldn't talk about your mom that way. So it doesn't matter how he feels. He shouldn't be allowed to say something because you don't like it.
Which is insane.
It's nuts. And I don't think that it matters because he's not big or he's too big for cancel culture to make a dent in his career. And also at this point, he doesn't need to make more music. Right. He's doing it for him.
Yeah, so he's just entertaining.
If it doesn't perform well, who cares? The dude lives on like a fucking 20,000 square foot compound and like the dude's got money for days. He's got fuck you money, right? So, but I do think that when you watch him, even like, do you remember him and the Machine Gun Kelly beef from 2017?
I remember something. When I think of Machine Gun Kelly, I think of him bringing Megan Fox to the video awards in a see-through dress, wearing a fucking dog chain or something. She was on a leash.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, when I think of Machine Gun Kelly, that's the only thing that pops in my head.
So Machine Gun Kelly, who I think is a good artist, like, I don't hate his stuff. In 2012, he tweeted, I don't remember it word for word, but he tweeted something about Eminem's daughter, like basically saying, "Can't wait till you're 18, you look super fuckable," or something like that. And tweeted that. So it was like out there for the public. And that's not the tweet word for word, but
Machine Gun Kelly's been around for 12 years.
Oh, he's been around for a while.
Okay.
But he said something super like.
And how did Eminem take that?
He didn't even know about it. It's something else he talked about on the podcast he did with Sway was the fact that it took him 6 years to even realize that he said something about that. Because Machine Gun Kelly was so irrelevant, especially on a scale of Eminem, that it never really hit his radar. Now you think about who other people that have talked about Eminem's daughter, Ja Rule, in the early 2000s. He made a song about Kim, Eminem's wife, daughter Haley, and Eminem's mom. Eminem released one song, and when was the last time you heard anything about Ja Rule after that? Nothing, because he ended the dude's career. So then he finds out that MGK says something about his daughter. Well, then MGK came out and tweeted, "You just rap, you not God," referring to Eminem's Rap God song. And then he released the song Rap Devil, where it was a diss track. He was shitting on Eminem. And it was super corny, like talking about his...
Are you sure? It wasn't good music?
The song wasn't bad, but as a diss track, like, he's talking about how his beard is weird and like it was very surface level dissing.
Okay.
And so then Eminem responded, and I use this as an example of like when Eminem does something, it's not like oh sure, like give me 45 minutes in the studio, we'll put something out and whatever. He's going in there and he's going in for blood, like he's coming to kill you. And he did. He released Kill Shot in 2017. Oh my God. Just fucking murdered MGK. And so hard to the point where MGK doesn't rap anymore. He does rock music. He switched genres because he was like, okay, you're good. So I don't think that he's going to come at this lightly. I think that if he is coming out to battle cancel culture, he's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. And I'm here for it. I am ready for it.
Okay.
I'm so excited. But I only know a little bit about the whole thing. I don't know very much.
Yeah. You should do some read up on Eminem if you're going to like him that much.
I mean, yeah. He knows how to speak German.
Huh. Speaking Sie Deutsch.
Yeah.
I know how to talk to my dog in German.
Well, that's different.
Plots. So, do you know who Caitlin Clark is?
I do. I think she's an incredible player.
And I saw something on Facebook the other day. It was yesterday, actually. I don't know who posted it. Someone famous that posted it. It said, I didn't even know Chanity, whatever her last name is. I didn't even know Chanity so-and-so existed until this happened. But he knew the way that he worded it was basically like, we all know who Caitlin Clark is. I didn't know your name until you created the drama with Caitlin Clark. Do you have an opinion on women's sports or the WNBA or everyone being so hard on her?
Super fucking boring to watch. Honestly, like the best.
Are you an NBA fan?
Yeah. I definitely have opinions on the NBA, but I don't like. You really only get me to dive into NBA hardcore during March Madness, but it's also because I love to gamble. Now, that being said, if you ever hear me say, do you want to bet? Know that you're not going to win.
Oh.
I only ever bet people when I know 100% that I'm going to win.
How's that possible?
Well, because I won't bet on something that's truly left up to chance.
You don't think games are left up to chance?
No. No, I think once you get into the world of professional sports, it's all like whoever's got the deepest pockets is going to be the one who comes out on top.
Because they have the better team?
No, because it's all pushing an agenda, right? Like, I firmly believe that if it was truly left up to chance in the NBA, you would see somebody else other than the Lakers and Golden State Warriors be the two championship teams that people talk about. You would see the fucking Mavericks come out of nowhere and sweep the finals just because. But that's not where they're making their money. They're making their money on the Lakers because LeBron plays for the Lakers. Kobe used to play for the Lakers. They're making their money on the Golden State Warriors because Steph Curry is one of, if not the best three-point shooter to ever exist in the history of basketball.
So you're suggesting that it's all fixed?
Oh, yeah. I firmly believe that about every professional sport out there.
Oh, come on.
They're in it to make money. They're in it to make money. And if your underdog team, like what do you think would happen to NFL jersey sales if this year the season starts in September for the NFL season? Yeah.
I think so.
What do you think would happen to jersey sales right now when you're talking big teams, the Patriots, the Seahawks, obviously, because we're around Washington, so we see a lot of Seahawks sales. The 49ers, like you have these big franchise teams. What do you think you're going to see happen when the Cincinnati Bengals come through and win the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
No, because you can't even imagine a world where the Cincinnati Bengals win the Super Bowl because they don't make the NFL money. You're going to tell me that somebody like Tom Brady, who I hate, but it's a good example, is going to be that dominant with the Patriots, but then in his retirement season go 8-9 with the Bucs. And you're going to tell me that was all left up to chance. There was no.
I believe so. Yes.
But okay.
Only because I've watched hockey games with for the Stanley Cup. I've watched Jordan win in the finals for the NBA championship, and whether the other team just got destroyed or whether it's a game 7 that just came down to nothing, or a Super Bowl that came down to the last drive and the guy, missing a field goal or whatever it is. I don't think that is fixed. I think those things are actually happening before your eyes.
I mean, yeah, it's not that they're not happening. It was just that it was supposed to happen. I truly, because if you think like Tom Brady going 8-9. What do you think would have been the huge push for him to stay for one more season? Well, if the Bucs won the Super Bowl, then he's the defending champion. He's got to come back for one more season, try to see if he can do it again and get another ring. Well, if he loses out big time on an 8-9 season, then they're definitely not going to the Super Bowl. Then what does he really have to retire on other than the legacy he had with the Patriots? It gives him an out where he doesn't have to be this big star-studded celebrity at the end of the season and come back to defend.
You can't get the other 55 players on that team to buy into that.
With their ridiculous salaries, you don't think that they're getting them to step in on something like that? Or if they're not willing
their
to
egos
to the script?
Their egos are just as big as their salaries.
But also you think that if the Cincinnati Bengals did go, they wouldn't be making enough money to pay out even higher salaries for like, hey, we need you to throw this game.
No, because their market is so small.
I mean, sure. I don't know. I feel like it's fixed. I definitely feel like it's fixed.
We'll agree to disagree.
But, it's going to happen. We're going to disagree on something.
And that's just professional sports in general?
I might give an edge out to hockey just because I don't watch enough hockey to have really a formed opinion. Mm-hmm. But fucking the MLS. While we're talking about it, let's throw that out there for a second.
I've never watched I know that you love soccer. I've never watched a professional soccer game. I've never watched the World Cup.
Oh, man. Lionel Messi. I don't know if you ever heard
I've heard the name.
Messi. Yeah, okay. In contention for one of the best players in the world. In my opinion, he's not even top 3. He's an amazing player. He's in my top 5 for sure, but he's not the best to ever do it. He comes over to the MLS for one last season to play in America, right? You'd think, sure, Americans are great at soccer, but they're not Argentina good at soccer.
Okay.
And so he comes through and we're like, okay, cool. He's going to play with Inter Miami. They're a relatively new team. So already, how do they have the money to afford a player like that? You'd think he would sign on with like LA Galaxy or the Portland Timbers or somebody who actually had enough money to afford a player who was just making $50 million a year to play for PSG.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Inter Miami getting that money? Probably from the league, because why not use the professional player that's coming in to push sales on a new team so that they can level out all the sales and have everybody making lots of money? So then he comes through, and in his season, he scores 1 goal every single game. Not 2, not 0. 1. Just enough to keep Inter Miami winning, just enough to keep people talking about him. But all of a sudden, the MLS Cup comes around and he can't hit a single shot to save his life. Does that not just seem a little sketchy to you? Because immediately my brain goes to, it would seem too obvious that it's fixed for this new Argentinian to come in and just dominate the league and they win the MLS Cup, no questions asked. Which is how I feel if it was truly left up to chance, it should be. Because he could run circles, or he could literally 1v11 an MLS team. It'd be hard, but I feel like he could do it. If you gave him a keeper and he was the only field player and you gave him a full opposition, that's ridiculous. It may be a little bit of an over-exaggeration, but I feel like it is so methodical that they are aware of what would seem too scripted. And for him to come through and win through the MLS Cup would definitely seem like, oh, they want to give him a great last season, so why not give him the cup? But he can score in every other game. But then as soon as it comes down to a championship game against the same teams that he's been dominating all season, he can't hit a single shot. Also kind of ironic that he didn't retire with Inter Miami after one season. He came back for another and is now signing on to do a third. Does something here just not smell fishy to you?
I can't grab on to...
I would be willing to dial it back and call the scripting of professional sports a conspiracy theory that carries a lot of weight with me.
Okay.
I would be willing to dial it back to that level.
Okay. Yeah, I'm never gonna... I've just watched too much of it, I guess. I just can't see that
being the case.
No.
Are you big into fantasy at all? Like fantasy football?
Like Pornhub?
I mean, yeah, we can talk that too, I guess.
No, I've never. I play fantasy NASCAR with some friends of mine, which is super stupid and real easy because we're NASCAR fans. Can't be overcomplicated.
Who's your number one overall pick for NASCAR? Like from this season, current. Who is your number one? Taking him first pick, first round.
Oh, probably Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is the best. Kyle Larson is the best in the top 5 best wheelmen in the history of automobiles.
I'm not too mad at that. I'm not mad at that
Because
at all.
he literally he'll in between the Indy 500 and the NASCAR race, he went to a sprint car race and who knows what state and won it. He gets in shit and just
he gets how it moves and how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, there's just he's a generational talent. I think is what Tony Stewart is now drag racing, and it won't be long, and he'll win a Top Fuel drag race. He's won an IndyCar championship. He's won NASCAR. He's won sprint car. Now he'll go over there and win in drag racing. I'm more of a motorsports, but only because my dad didn't watch. I mean, the only sporting event that I saw my dad ever watching was motorsport. He took me to a drag race when I was 5. Took me to the 64 funny cars, SI or Seattle International Raceway. I remember that.
You follow Supercross at all?
I paid attention over. I mean, I know who Jeremy McGrath is. I know who Ricky Carmichael is. I don't know any of the more recent one.
Ken Roxon, Jet Lawrence, anybody like that?
No, never heard of them.
They're pretty great.
Supercross. I mean, I've ridden a motorcycle, and I've driven a car. I don't know how rally drivers do what they do in a car, and I don't know what the guys that are just insane at Supercross and how far,
Dude, what they do is nuts.
It's nuts. And I mean, what a guy does, what a legend can do in a rally car, how fast they go down a wooded road and
sideways.
Yeah. I mean, it's totally unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. That more than any other motorsport, full super badass professional rally racing is at the top of the food chain. Is just mind blowing.
Did you follow the story of the Block family at all after Ken Block died?
Mm-hmm.
Leah Block and Ken's wife took over the rally team, and now Leah just got picked up by the F1 Academy after winning the national championship.
Yeah. She'll be a badass. She is a badass.
She's legit.
Yeah, she is an actual badass.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I'm pretty sure he did a jump on a snowmobile and it basically landed on him and he suffocated in the snow.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if it broke his
neck. I think
neck.
it crushed his chest.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it crushed his chest.
Like it fell back on him and he was done.
It was just a freak accident. Right?
Yeah.
He's probably done that jump so many fucking times, and it just in those extreme sports, 1 degree off changes the whole trajectory of what you're doing, and it blows.
And you've heard of Dale Earnhardt?
Yeah.
Not junior, but senior.
Yeah.
That drove the famous black 3 car.
Yeah, he was the one that died on the track, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His ego killed him. And I've never fully recovered because he was my favorite. He became the intimidator. He became so famous from being just such a psycho and so aggressive and he was hypocritical, but he was just a badass. Well, he created his own team. And so for the very first time in his career, instead of him wanting to win that race, and I have a picture in my garage that was from that race taken about 10 seconds before he was dead. And all you can see is those 3 cars, but right behind him is everyone else. and he's blocking for his 2 cars. He wanted his 2 team cars to finish 1 and 2nd, and him to finish 3rd, and he was keeping everyone else away from them. He would still be alive today if he tried to win that race his own, because the car behind him got into him, got him all fucked up. He went up, hit the wall, died, whatever. Mind-blowing to me that after being such a badass for so long that he let his fucking ego kill his ass. Dumb.
It happens.
Yes, it does. What's next? What's on your mind?
Fucking Starbucks, dude. We need to talk about Starbucks.
Starbucks?
Yeah.
What about Starbucks?
When was the last time you were in a Starbucks?
I don't remember. I've always had a problem with Starbucks flavor, and then I had a real problem with Starbucks on a political level.
That's fair.
And so my wife and I have just never really been. I'll go to a local coffee stand way more than I would go to a Starbucks. And if the only option was a Starbucks, I wouldn't have anything.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna need you to do me a favor.
Okay.
And we're gonna touch on this the next time we record, because I want your opinion on what we're gonna talk about. I want you to go to a Starbucks, even if you just get a water.
Okay.
Go to a Starbucks and pay attention. You have to walk inside. You can't go to the drive-thru. You have to go inside.
The last time I was in a Starbucks, I got one of their little protein packs.
Yeah.
I didn't get a coffee. I got some food.
Yeah.
Because it was conveniently located to where I was working.
Yeah, you can get whatever.
Okay.
What you order doesn't matter. All you need to go inside.
Okay.
I am so convinced that Starbucks employees are a hive mind.
What's a hive mind?
They are all working as one collective. You know the freaking board from Star Trek?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, everyone shares the same brain kind
Yeah.
of deal. Starbucks employees are no different.
Okay.
Not only walk into any other fast food joint, walk into a McDonald's, walk into a Burger King, it doesn't matter. Pick one that isn't a Starbucks. And you are going to look in the back and see the most disorganized disarray of people trying to work together that you've ever seen. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Now walk into a fucking Starbucks. You're going to see the most clean, precise, understanding where people are, understanding what's going on around you that you'll ever see. And it is creepy to watch. And I've got a good example of how I'm pretty sure that they all share one brain. But just what brought this on initially is I have never seen people work collectively together so well. Like, nobody steps where they shouldn't be. Nobody is doing something that they shouldn't be doing. They're all aware of where every other person is. And you're talking 10 people behind a counter. And nobody ever bumps into each other. Everything runs almost too smooth.
And what Starbucks did you witness this in?
Oh, I've witnessed it in every Starbucks that I've been in. And we're talking down in Seattle. There's 800 of them up in Bellingham. Every single one runs the same way. It's the same thing every time you walk in. And we went to.
So you obviously like Starbucks.
I actually do. I don't mind their stuff.
Okay.
I think some of their shit tastes pretty good. I really like their freaking sandwiches or their egg bites. Oh, right? I've never thought about having sex with a food until an egg bite, but then I thought, man, I can't eat the part that I had sex with because it's gonna be all over my dick.
Yeah, you could,
right? It's nuts. Taylor and I recently, this was within the last month, went to Bakerview Starbucks. It's over by Bakerview, Fred Meyer in Bellingham.
Yep.
And she stayed in the car. I walked in, I ordered the drinks, I paid, and everything like that. And as I'm standing there, I'm paying attention because I've already got this idea in my mind that Starbucks is a hive mind collective.
Okay.
So I am watching like a hawk. The lady who took my order at the counter, at no point did she move anywhere. Didn't turn around. She was locked into her register. She didn't move. Other people were ordering, obviously, but she did not step anywhere. That's very important to this part of the story.
Okay.
The guy after me orders food. Another guy comes through, gets the food from their little fridge, and puts it in the heater. He tosses on a little plate, puts the thing in there, closes the lid, hits a button, and it beeps, and then it's sitting there and it's warming up. He moves over. The lady starts taking the next person's order. This guy goes to grab the guy who ordered the food. He goes to get it out of the little oven. And he opens it and he picks up these tongs. And without even looking, the chick at the counter, who had no clue what he just did, went, Tommy, those are the wrong ones. And so he doesn't even like say, oh, thanks, just puts them down and picks up another set and then grabs his food. And I'm like, how the fuck did she know? How the fuck did you know what he just picked up? Like, how are you? And he just like seamlessly, like not even like going, oh shit, just okay. And went about his business. And I'm like, how the fuck did you know? You shouldn't have known what he just picked up.
Maybe she has like glasses that have the rear view.
No, she wasn't even wearing glasses.
Oh.
Because also, if you ever walk into a Starbucks, you realize that there's a couple guys in there, and if there's two, one of them's gay. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
The other one's probably just a college student, but one of them's gay. If you end up with a gay college student, then they're both gay.
Okay.
Starbucks math. Okay,
Yeah.
right?
Understood.
You've got the fat chick running the drive-thru. They put the most supermodel-looking one up at the front counter. Because that's the first person you notice when you walk in. People at the drive-thru don't really give a shit what you look like.
They just want their stuff.
They just want their stuff.
As soon as possible.
Exactly. When you walk in, the first person you deal with is the person at the register. So they put the most attractive one there. And then you get a couple 5s and 6s that make the coffee and stuff like that. So that way, if you have to see them, it doesn't ruin your day.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to be thinking about it an hour later. Right? It's very methodical. It's very, and you know.
Are you ever going to go back in there and question her on her hive mind?
I really want to, but Taylor's telling me I'm crazy.
She doesn't believe in the hive mind.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't believe in the hive mind. But it's a real thing.
Are they all wearing headsets?
No, they're not. Only the drive-thru person wears headsets. Because that was like another thing. Like, well, what if they have like little earpieces and those?
And like when she's putting stuff in the computer, it's like there's an AI voice that's literally telling everyone what she just entered into the computer.
Yeah, but then at that point,
but that still wouldn't explain how she knew what tongs that he got that Jeremy grabbed.
There should be no way that she knows, but she did.
They must make a different noise.
They were the same thing. They were literally silver handle, black rubber pieces.
Why would it matter what tongs he grabbed?
I don't know if it's because like they have to have one for the stuff that has meat in it. They have to have one for the stuff that doesn't have meat in it. So like, and shit like that. But they're
cross-contamination fucking tongs.
They're right next to each other. How do you know which one he picks up?
She had to have heard it.
But they're right next to each other. It's not even like, oh, you pick up these ones over here, bang, bang, bang. Oh, no, I'll pick these ones up over here, bang, bang, bang. They're right fucking next to each other.
You're going to have to dive into this.
I know. We need to interview Starbucks.
We need to find someone. And I don't want I have or I did. We need someone that currently is employed at a Starbucks.
I mean,
and we can interview them.
We need to interview them. But honestly, if I'm right, if we ask for one, we're going to get all 10. We're going to have 10 people in here just speaking the same thing over and over and over again.
True.
Yeah. Or a suit and tie is going to show up at the door one of these days, and mysteriously, MLF has been abandoned.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the Secret fucking Service.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I see McFuddy.
You see McFuddy?
The soda.
Oh, yes. I thought you were talking about me.
I can see both of you, yes.
Yes. Well, we'll keep it Doc McFuddy.
Okay.
I'll just be Doc from now on.
Okay, you're Doc.
Yeah, I'm Doc.
Yeah.
We do. Did I tell the story about how I got my name in the
I think so.
episode? Yeah.
I think so.
If you didn't know, how well can you see that?
I don't know. You can see it pretty good.
You can see it pretty good. So when I started my channel, I have always been super, super picky about like names. Like your name when you're playing or recording or whatever has to be memorable.
And clean.
And clean.
Yeah, you talked about it being clean.
Yeah, you can't have a bunch of random numbers and letters and shit because then it just seems like you're just a regular player who just doesn't give a shit.
Right.
And who's going to go?
What's worse? What's worse? Player, MLK 3175 or player Johnny Cucksuck 79?
MLK 3175 for sure.
Is worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even if
No offense that I chose MLK. Okay, don't BLM me now.
big offense that he said MLK.
Mm-hmm.
We'll split the line right there.
Okay.
I don't want people to be offended. Yeah, no, because even if you do have numbers on the end, because I understand that like you might think of a super neat name, but it might be super popular, so you have to add a number on the end.
Mm.
At that point, think of a different name. But if you don't, then there needs to be more letters than there is numbers.
Yeah.
So I've always been super, super big on that, especially because when I'm watching somebody on YouTube, like if they have a very clean, recognizable, memorable name, it triggers in my brain more like I want to go back and watch this person. If I have to think about what your name is, I'm going to lose interest and I'm not going to go back and watch your shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want me to go subscribe to your channel and your fucking YouTube handle is user6374512, eat shit. I don't care.
Okay.
If your name is I'm all for it. That's easy to remember. It looks good. It's clean. I love it.
What if it's the 79?
It would have to have some sort of meaning behind it.
But you would know.
I need to know now. Like, you need to give me a story how you got the name 79. Because if your name is just the 79 because it's the 79, that pisses me off a little bit. I need a story. It could be a stupid story. My name came from a fucking soda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a story behind me loving the number 98.
I feel like you've told me this before.
Yeah. My son was born in 98, but it started sooner than that. It started with the number of my dad's semi-truck when I was a kid was number 98. So I just always liked the number 98.
I thought there was a couple of reasons. Yeah, 98, it's a pretty good number.
Carroll Shelby used it on the Cobras that he used to race.
98 is a pretty good number.
98 is a pretty good number.
But yes, in case you're curious, I was drinking one of these.
Yeah, McFuddy.
When I named my channel. And McFuddy.
But you added a K so that you wouldn't get sued.
I did. Instead of MACFUDDY, MACKFUDDY.
Yeah.
Plus, when you're spelling it, I just feel like I can roll off the tongue a little bit better. But that always, it looked bare. Like, just having McFuddy looked bare to me, so I threw the DR period on there because it was like a big thing at the time. You had Dr. Lupo, Dr. Disrespect. You had a bunch of people putting DR period in front of their names.
It wasn't because that's a play on Dr. Pepper?
No, that would have been a way better thing to do. I'm going with that now. That's my official story. Yeah. No, it was just because it tied it together really well.
This is if you ever you can find them on Amazon. If you ever have and enjoy a McFuddy soda, they are a spicy version, similar to, not version, they're similar to a Dr. Pepper.
I know, they're so good. They're so good. They make my nose burn, and that's my favorite part.
Do you like wasabi?
No. But I don't even dislike wasabi because of like the spice or anything. I dislike it because
what's that? Do you remember? Sorry.
I do.
Do you remember those?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Specifically from, and I know it wasn't the original place that came through, Scary Movie.
Oh.
The parody movie on Scream.
Yes.
What's that?
Because it was a Budweiser commercial. Isn't that what it was?
I think so. I think the original one was. I knew it was a beer commercial.
Yeah, it was a Budweiser. Yeah, it was a Super Bowl commercial. That's what I think of when I think of wasabi.
I think of horseradish.
I like horseradish.
I don't, because my dad pranked me with it when I was younger. I was like 4, and he goes, taste this mayonnaise, and it was a spoonful of horseradish.
Why would you do that to your child?
I don't know, because he's a fucking dick. I don't know. It ruined horseradish for me, and wasabi tastes too much like horseradish.
If I even smell Tabasco sauce, I'm angry.
Oh, dude, I love Tabasco.
You want to tell everybody why, Mom? Because if I said language, if I used some bad words, and my dad was a truck driver, so how often do you think that I used bad words?
At least once.
So I think the first time I remember, I was 5. When I was 5 years old, you know how some people, they wash their kid's mouth out with soap or whatever, right? No, I had to lift my tongue up to the top of my mouth, and she would put Tabasco under my tongue, and I would have to sit there and hold it in my mouth, and she'd until she told me that I could either swallow it or spit it out. And I would just sit there and let it burn in my mouth.
So how do you handle spicy foods now?
I don't mind spicy foods at all. I just don't like Tabasco.
That's fair.
What
do you think your spice tolerance is? Like scale from 1 to 10. 10 being like you can handle anything. 1
3.
being like a pickle's too much.
3.
That's it?
Yeah, I don't really like spicy shit.
What?
Even before, my stomach is so sensitive now. But even before that, I was never really. I mean, what's a spicy food? Yeah, like when you go have Indian food. I'm sorry, not Indian, Thai. Well, Thai Indian food. Also, but if you go to have Thai food and they're like, how many stars? 0. Or maybe 1, but usually 0.
That's fair. I feel like that star system is so unregulated, though, because even if you go back to the same place twice, the 2s do not taste the same.
Probably not.
No. And I've like on rice is one that we really like. On sandwich, it's called on rice. I've tried everything from their 0 to their 5. And there are some times where like their 0 is spicier than their 5 is. Then there are times where their 5 is borderline unedible. Inedible?
Unedible. Inedible.
It's so spicy.
Wow. Yeah, it's so spicy you can't. So you're Captain Carolina Reaper. I mean, you just love super.
I'll roll with that shit all day long. Even if it's too spicy to eat, I'm always down to try anything once. I just ate the world's hottest gummy bear like a month ago.
And was it hot?
It
made you sick?
No, it didn't. I don't have a sensitive stomach. Like Tony Stark designed my midsection.
What about your asshole?
No, I'm good.
You don't get the burning ring?
No.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm a security vault.
No,
right? I can handle it.
I've had 2-star Tom Kagai, and I was basically shoving ice cubes in my asshole. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do spice very well.
There was this Reddit post. You just reminded me of this about this guy who was talking about caffeine. He was like, I've been drinking Monster energy drinks forever, and they just don't do it for me anymore. And somebody was like, I don't even remember what the word that they used was, but there was a name for it. And it wasn't pegging; it was something else. But they were like, "If you tried sticking it up your ass," and he goes, "No, I haven't. We'll update later." And they were doing it like as a joke.
Yeah.
Because like if you drink a beer through your ass, you get drunk quicker.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know that from experience, but I do know it from stories of people getting alcohol poisoning.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anal drinker.
Mm-hmm.
No, do you even drink?
No.
No?
I mean, am I in AA? No. Will I occasionally have alcohol? Yeah, but very occasionally.
Very rarely.
Very rarely.
That's. I feel like I remember you mentioning something about it at one point. And I was like,
and I'm not anti. I'm not. I mean, and my wife and I have always. Tiffany will always tell you her New Year's resolution is to start drinking, because for years we go somewhere and we're the only couple at a barbecue or at dinner, or we're the only ones not drinking, and the people that are drinking. Not everyone, most people don't give a fuck, but there's always 1 or 2 or a couple or whatever that they're like, literally, they're put off by the fact that we're not drinking. They're making an assumption that we somehow have a problem with the fact that they are drinking.
Right.
Whereas like, no, man, it's always been too expensive. I'm a control freak. I don't like being out of control. I don't need to try to I don't ever want a DUI.
Yeah.
I'm literally, that's all it is. And I don't like guys that are really big into the fucking IP. How you motherfuckers drink those beers? They're fucking horrible.
I don't like IPAs. They taste like perfume.
God, my favorite beer would be an ice cold Corona with 2 limes, because I really think that puts it. That sets it. That's fucking good. When I was a kid, I loved Moosehead. And if I was going to drink hard A, it would be tequila.
Yeah.
And I don't do shots. I actually would drink it.
Like because
I enjoy the flavor of it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy Southern Comfort. I don't like whiskey. I don't know how people, I mean, when guys are like really into scotch and other types of whiskey, dude, it tastes like kerosene. I have no idea how you're savoring. But people will tell me that about tequila. How the fuck do you drink tequila? Well, I think it tastes good.
Have you ever actually ingested kerosene?
No, well, we...
Not on purpose, but have you ever tasted kerosene?
No, I've tasted gas. I've never tasted kerosene.
Kerosene... Scotch tastes nothing like kerosene.
Nothing?
Not even close.
Okay, well...
You know, honestly, if you were to talk about, like, something that you should not be ingesting tastes closest to Scotch is fucking Drano.
Have you tasted Drano?
Not on purpose. I came home from soccer one night when we lived out in Denning, and my parents were trying to fix a clog in the sink, so they were trying to take the pipes all apart. Well, for whatever reason, neither one of my parents can lift a finger, figuratively or physically. They are the weakest human beings I've ever met.
Okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I get home and they're like, "Hey, we need you to take the pipes off." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I'm down to taking the pipes off. Well, now I'm literally staring up the pipe for the drain in the sink, and my mom goes, "Okay," and just starts dumping this like industrial grade Drano down it, and it just lands all over. It got in my eyes and in my mouth and everything.
Jesus.
Yeah, that tastes the closest to Scotch. Still not even close, but the closest of any non-ingestible thing I've ever had. But a good Scotch, oh, dude,
is better than a good Maker's Mark.
yeah. Especially if you make it the right way. You want to talk about how bougie I can be with Scotch. You get it good. It doesn't even have to be super expensive, right? You don't need the 25-year Macallans that are going to run you $1,800 a bottle. You go get a nice bottle of like the Glenfiddich Cuban Caribbean Reserve is really good. Anything from Oban's really good. And what you do is you get your glass. It has to be glass. You get a little piece of apple smoked cedar. You set it on the table. You light the corner. You smoke the glass. One ice cube, square or round. Don't do 2 ice cubes. It waters it down too much. But 1 ice cube in the middle. You pour about 1/3 of the glass, and you put a cinnamon stick in there. Fucking amazing.
And you've done this.
Yes, it's like one of the only ways I'll drink Scotch. Taylor got me a smoking kit for Christmas with different kinds of woods in there so I could experiment with them.
Interesting.
It's the best way to drink it. It's so good.
Huh.
Yeah. I like tequila too. Like I do enjoy like sipping tequila.
Yeah.
You know, there have been a couple that I really, really enjoy. But Scotch is my go-to. I've got like 4 or 5 different kinds sitting at home. One of my bottles of Caribbean Reserve is currently sitting in an Iron Man decanter that Taylor also got me for Christmas. It's so cool. It's Iron Man head full of Scotch.
Do you remember why you asked me if I drank?
I think it was just a side note that popped into my head because I thought I heard you mention something about it, but I wasn't 100% sure. But then also, like, do you guys have a bunch of wine out there? And I was like, why do they have a bunch of wine out there if they don't drink?
It's just in case someone comes over that wants some. And I don't know how people drink wine. Trust me, I've tasted Mad Dog 2020, and I've tasted expensive wine in the. I don't get it.
The swirling and the sniffing.
Yeah, I don't get. Wine is just as bad as fucking whiskey. I'd rather have Everclear. I'd rather sip Everclear than take a drink of wine.
Everclear is rough. Everclear is rough. I've done shots of Everclear before, and it is honestly, it's hard to recover from. Like, not even the hangover, just the fact that you just did what you just did is hard to accept that you just did.
Yeah, that is old school grain alcohol moonshine.
Yeah.
We had, growing up in Alaska, we had Everclear.
Not good.
One of my friends at a party, we were at a high school party, and I remember they had white carpet. And Sean, he was already wasted, and he was taking, and in the middle of this guy's fucking living room, was taking mouthfuls of Everclear, and then pulls out his lighter and starts doing making fireballs of the mist. But he was so drunk, what he didn't realize is that there was flaming balls of Everclear landing and burning holes all over the carpet because it wasn't going into a mist. Yeah. Yeah, I think that whole night ended up in a fight. I can't remember.
Oh, well, they usually do.
Yeah. Yeah, I just never, I'm too much of a control freak.
That's fair. I don't like doing it in public. Like, I'll have like a beer if like we're going out to dinner.
Yeah.
I'll get a beer because I know what my limits are, and one beer isn't it.
Right.
So But like if I'm at home, there are some nights where I'm just like, I feel like getting fucked up because I feel like it. There are some nights where I'm like, I just want some scotch with dinner. So I'll jump all over the place, but I will never. I couldn't even tell you the last time I got even tipsy in public.
I like. Go ahead.
I just realized I definitely could because I did it once while Taylor was in school. I went over there and me and one of my high school buddies that went to Wazoo and Taylor all went out for drinks.
And you got lit up.
Oh, I got fucking destroyed because not only were they doing $1 shots, so I ordered like 16 tequila shots for me and him to split. I had already had 2 mixed drinks. He had had 2 mixed drinks, and Taylor ordered a trash can, which is like 9 different types of alcohol, a little bit of juice, and a Red Bull. And she had one of those, and then I finished off her half of her second one, and then did 8 tequila shots on top of that. I was drooling, piss myself drunk.
Yeah.
And
see, I don't think that's fun.
I had a blast though, dude. I had so much fun.
No.
It was I didn't like looking back on it, I don't like that I did it in public. Because at home, like 90% of the time, if I get that drunk, I'm going to go stream.
Mm-hmm.
I do drunk streams sometimes, and they are a hoot.
I can imagine.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. But that one, like, I was fine once we got back to her dorm room. Like, as far as, like, I'm now in a comfortable place. But, like, walking back from the bar, I was yelling at strangers. And I think it's still funny.
You're belligerent.
Yeah, I would yell at strangers sober just to get some sort of reaction. But I wouldn't, like, yell anything like...
You wouldn't be mean. You're not going to be mean-spirited.
I wasn't when I was drunk either. I was just like, hey, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
So it's just more that, like, I think my thought process goes, if I do that when I'm sober, I can still trust that I'm going to react to whatever their reaction is well. Mm-hmm. Like, if I were to yell at some girl walking through campus and all of a sudden her boyfriend pops out from behind a bush and I'm drunk, I'm losing that fight.
Mm-hmm.
I could still lose that fight sober, but I've got a way better chance.
True.
So I think that's where my biggest thing comes from. Like, I don't mind who I am as a drunk person. It's more, I don't know how other people are going to react to it, and I need to be able to react to their reaction. And I can't do that very well if I'm inebriated.
Got you.
Yeah.
Did you ever smoke? Cigarettes?
No, I did once. And no, I didn't. My mom smoked for her whole life. I got kicked out of the house because I wouldn't smoke a cigarette with my mom. When I was homeless for that year and a half, I got kicked out because she offered me a cigarette. I told her no. And then I told my oldest sister, the one that I don't speak to anymore, that mom offered me a cigarette and got upset when I said no. So then my sister went off on my mom. My mom got pissed off at me and told me to get out of the house. So I got kicked out and I lived on the streets for a year and a half because I wouldn't smoke a cigarette with my mom. I was 11.
That's hard to believe. But I do believe you.
I mean, you can ask anybody in my family. You know, I got kicked out when I was 16 because I left a water bottle in the cup holder of my car.
Of your car?
Yeah. I came home from work because I was working nights when I was 16 because I was going to school during the day. I wasn't actually going to school, but I was going to school during the day. So I worked at a cereal factory in Blaine at night. I came home and she was like, hey, my car's getting worked on today. Can I borrow your car? And I'm like, yeah, I don't have to be at class until like noon. So I was going to the community college. And she was like, yeah, okay. And then she goes out, comes back in, and like chucks this water bottle at me. It was just like a Kirkland plastic water bottle and chucks it at me. And she goes, you left this in your cup holder. I'm like, okay. And she goes, well, I need space for my drink. And then she smoked cigarettes, so she had like a second can of Diet Dr. Pepper that she used as her ashtray.
Yep.
And she's like, and I don't have room for both of your bottles in the cup holder. I'm like, then put my water bottle on the floor. And she's like, I shouldn't have to worry about that. And I'm like, you're kind of being a little unreasonable, don't you think? And then she told me to get out of the house. I had to pack a bag and get out.
Your mom sounds like an interesting person.
She's a joy to be around.
Just a gem.
Yeah. She is delightful.
Well.
Okay, let's talk about what's coming up before we end the episode. We've got things coming out.
What do we have coming out?
Well, we've got 2 episodes, our first 2 episodes that we did together coming out probably sometime within the next week, we're hoping.
Yes. That's the religion episode should be coming out. And then I reached out to Kyra and I'm going to do a response. I told her that I wanted to have what I called the religion response because I really just let her minister.
Yeah.
And I've had a chance to go back and walk through it and took a bunch of notes. And, I'm not going to be disrespectful, but there are plenty of things that I'm going to be like, so no offense, but the golden tablets, so they don't exist? No one knows where they are? Not like even in the Salt Lake City temple. They're not sitting in there somewhere? That none of this seems suspect to you? So we're going to have some of that.
Yeah.
And yes, we have our first cancel culture that was, it won't be 3 by the time we edit it, but it'll be more than 2.5. So I'm excited for that. Then the next one we did after that was
video games and artificial intelligence.
Yep, that was awesome. So that's a couple hours. I'm going to be able to have a conversation with my friend Rachel about managing the gay bar in Bellingham and just her journey as a lesbian.
Yeah.
I know she's cool enough that I said, look, I want to go back to your first memories of knowing that something was different to us.
Yeah.
Not different to you, her, you know what I mean? All the way up through, the progress we've made and what still needs to be done. She's super cool. So I'm excited for that just because, to find someone in that, in that dynamic, that is cool enough to share that story, I think is fucking cool. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, so
you'll find out.
I'm gonna find out. What are stuff that you want to talk about? What do you want to do?
Well, so you can't forget we've also got social media coming through the pipeline. We've got TikTok coming up.
Yep.
We'll get Twitter up and running, Instagram up and running. Keep an eye out for the Discord link. We'll have that. Merch will be up sometime, hopefully within the next month or so. We still got to get some stuff designed, get some logistics figured out, but we'll get it up and running and we'll get the link posted.
I'm disconnecting from the world for like 3 weeks in July. So at some point you might be deciding to do something on your own in my absence. Who knows? We'll have to figure that out.
Will you still be reachable by text?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be I'm not going to be on the moon. I'm going to be available. We can even do a remote episode.
That'd be good.
You can invite me, and I'm a guest.
Yeah.
I'll be a guest on LMF from.
You said you're leaving on the 14th.
We're leaving on July 14th, and we're going to Banff, Glacier in Montana, Idaho, Oregon, up through Washington again. We're definitely stopping to see some really cool shit.
Yeah.
I hope. Maybe, for all I know, we're just going to be gone for 3 days and come home and be like, oh, well, that didn't work out.
Yeah, sometimes they don't, right?
Sometimes they don't.
Yeah. You can check out the Docs Lab Glitch line on Bonfire.
What's Bonfire?
Just a merch site that I use. It's on my Twitter. I think I've shouted out my Twitter in like every episode that we've done, so they should know it by now.
What is it?
At McFuddy.
MACK.
At MACKFUDDY on Twitter, and the link is pinned at the top of my profile.
Got you.
So it's super easy to find. I've got new Starfield series coming out probably in the next week and a half. I got to finish up the Millie Bay series first.
And when you say series, what does that mean?
Multiple episodes. So like Millie Bay's that ran for a year and a half. There's like 30 parts to that series.
And that's where, and that's live stream, or that's people can go on and watch that at their leisure?
So both. So I stream every time I record.
Okay.
And so you can catch like the Starfield series. I've already streamed the first part. So for those that have seen it, know kind of what the story is. I'm not going to spoil it. But if not, you can go find the stream VODs, video on demand.
Okay.
at the Docs Lab channel on YouTube, and you can find edited versions of all of the streams on the Dr. McFly main channel. And I will also be starting another Skyrim series probably in the next week or so.
Starfield and Skyrim are both video game franchises. And when you start a new series, that is you just basically everybody going with you on whatever adventure that character is going on. That's the whole thought process behind what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I mean, if you just make a character and play the game, like all the content that's there is the game itself. If they wanted to see that, they could go watch a Let's Play or they could play the game themselves. I like to create a character that has a backstory, so it kind of adds another layer of depth to the whole deal.
Got you. And then you're talking throughout while you're doing this.
Oh, yeah. You got to bring the character to life, right? You got to give them a little bit of commentary, a little bit of backstory, a little bit of zing.
Nice. Yeah. I wonder, there's got to be a way. You're smart enough that there's got to be a way during one of the LMF episodes that we can get your channel on the TV, so that while we're talking about it, you literally could be sitting here with your own laptop navigating not an actual episode, but watching one and maybe even giving us a little tutorial, a little ride through that particular episode, kind of showing all of us what I think that would be super cool, to be honest with you.
Let's do it. We can do it on the next one that we do.
Awesome. All right. We all done here?
We are all done.
We are all done.
Outside, ready to go watch some racing.
Skagit Speedway.
Skagit Speedway.
Okay. Well, I appreciate all of your time. We're looking forward to the future. Kisses. Oh, shit. I hadn't been recording any of this.
Tell me you're joking.